speaking about funny stories, I mean, you just had one last night on your way here. Tell us about just to put this into perspective, those who are watching or listening to this, I mean, Charles has been to not only every country, not only all the TCC countries, but you've been to like more than 1,000 of the 1,500 regions of MTP, which is most traveled people, by the way, in case you don't know.
I'm up to 1,290 now, so my next goal is to get to 1,300.
So you're already above 1,000. So you're 1,290, so you just got 10 more regions to go, and one of them is here in Chile.
One of them is here in Chile, which is where I'm going to be driving
today.
Tower? No. No,
because that's really easy.
The border's about 3 hours north of here. I'm going to fly to Buenos Aires tonight. So I'm going to go try and see something interesting and then come back to make that flight. But so the reason that I'm down in South America is I wanted to get my Venezuelan visa, which is very difficult for Americans at this time.
Oh.
So I wanted.
You've done this all on just one passport, American passport.
U.S. passport's the only passport I have.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean you can have 2 U.S. passports at the same time.
Should have married some beautiful French woman or something.
Yeah.
And you could have picked up a French passport.
So I am leading a tour in Algeria in about a week. And so I had 2 weeks, and I said, let's try and, clean up my South American region. So it's just day after day, I'm trying to do more and more. Yesterday, I was coming from Salar de Uyuni. Uyuni is 13,000 feet up in Bolivia, which is the salt flats, which is, really, really fun. And I hadn't done that, and I hadn't been to that region before, believe it or not.
That's very Instagrammable. Right?
Yeah, I got some crazy photos.
Yeah.
So the little guides all organize it. It's easy.
But this is, my point is that it's a very well-known region, the salt flats of Bolivia.
Right. Yeah.
And very well traveled, and yet as much as you've traveled, there's always a place.
I had never gone around to it.
I haven't been to China or India, believe it or not.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm embarrassing.
You
want to end this conversation now?
It's my buddy. You're my buddy. But you hiked from Madagascar from top to bottom. I didn't do that.
These are details.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is that it's amazing that no matter how much you travel, there's always cool shit to still see. And,
right.
And you, Charles, are a living testament of that. You've been to 1,290 regions of the world out of 1,500. And you still hadn't gone to the salt flats of Bolivia, which is I haven't been to either, by the way, but I've seen photos and it's amazing. So
and so when you actually say I'm going there, then you need to figure out the logistics. And I had sort of 10 regions in South America, so I just decided to do this last minute. And so day to day, I'm putting together, how to get from one place to the next. As you know, we tried to set up this meeting, and I said, I don't know, maybe I'll be there 8 o'clock. No, past midnight. Nope, maybe let's try tomorrow. Okay. So yesterday, I needed to get from there down to Chile, and really the only way is by land. So I was able to get transport to the border. I was delayed because the people were arguing with the Chilean side, and the transport guy wanted to charge me $350 just to go down the hill. And I said, screw that.
Why? What's his reasoning?
Just, I don't know. I didn't know the guy. Okay. It was a local person in Uyuni who ran a bunch of buses or vans. Okay. And so she gave me a van to the border. I said, just go to the border and I'll find something from there.
Right.
So came to the border. The guy had to drop me off. The other side of the border, the Chilean side, is about 1 kilometer away. So you walked. It's burning hot sun and dusty.
And you had how much luggage just to roll?
I have a roller bag and a backpack. Okay. So and even that's a lot.
You walked 1 kilometer during the sun.
I started to walk, and then this one family that we've been chatting with on the Bolivian side let me in, and I was in the back seat with 3 kids, including one sucking on the bottle. They all squeezed over, and I was like. It reminded me of the old day. I have 3 kids. It reminded me of those days. Yeah. And the car sort of smells like milk. That's a little bit spoiled. And I'm in there, and they're just so nice. So they brought me that kilometer to the other side. That's nice. But then we're not going to go 3 hours that way. They weren't going to take me 3 hours.
Why not?
They only
were too cramped.
It's too cramped, and they just were being nice to bring me that far. Yeah. So there wasn't any commitment beyond that.
Okay.
So I made it through to the Chilean side, and then there was nothing. There was nobody. There were a couple more. There were a couple more vans. They're like SUVs with families like that, and I stopped them, and they said, "Look, I'm sorry. No, look how full we are." They're like.
And then you commandeered a bus with your revolver.
There was a guy with a bus, and I said, "Hey, are you going down the hill?" And he was reluctant at first because he didn't have any papers at the moment to carry passengers. And so,
and you speak Spanish, luckily.
But yeah, my Spanish is good, and so I told him, look, I'll pay you. What do you want?
Yeah.
And so we settled. I offered him 50. He asked for 100. I said, fine, get me out of here. And
how many kilometers was it? Like 20 kilometers?
It's 3 hours. It's good 3 hours to
so $100 is. I mean, it's expensive, but it's
to Calama, you know. And I wanted to fly here to Santiago last night.
Yeah.
I didn't want to wait and then get behind. So that was good. But first of all, it turns out that there are soldiers watching. And he was very afraid, and even the woman at the roadside stand, they conferred, and she came up to me and said, "Hey, look, he's got a problem, and the soldiers are watching. You should walk down to that town,
right,
and he'll pick you up there."
Right.
And I hadn't paid him anything, so I wasn't worried about that. But I thought this is kind of shady,
right?
And so I walked over to the desolate little desert border town. There's nothing really there, and stood by myself on the corner,
right.
Lo and behold, he came with the bus, and then he came and he said, "Get in, get in, get in! Soldiers, soldiers, soldiers!" And get in the back. And all the curtains had to be drawn.
All right.
Yeah, so the whole way it was like illegal transfer. Yeah, it was like my coyote bringing me
exactly right to South America instead of the other way around.
Yeah, so every day there's something new like that when you.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and that's I think the one of the key lessons here is that you can be this incredible traveler like Charles Veley and still not be jaded. Still find everyday joy in the shit that happens when we travel.
And the joy comes from the fact that people are generally nice.
Of course.
So 99% of the time, someone, especially if you speak the language or you try to speak the language, and you smile.
Yes.
Smiling is the most important thing.
Yes.
Especially if
remember that Eastern Europeans. Sorry.
Especially if you're in trouble. It's easy to go, and no one wants to talk to you at that point.
Yeah.
But if you smile and just say, "Hey, I need this. Can you help me?" People will really go out of their way to help you.
I'll do a little bragging here. I wrote an article for Forbes about the top hitchhiking tips. And if you search Google hitchhiking tips, that will come up at the top. And one of them is smile, fucking smile. Like some people are like they're sitting there with this stern face and just sticking out. Who the fuck wants to pick up somebody who's just sitting there with their thumb out and looks like disheveled and mean? Right. Just smile, wave, and say, "Hey," and like, "Oh, I'd like that guy to be my passenger."
Yeah. The other tip would be to be a beautiful woman.
Yes, and I do that every day.
And stand out there, but then have the boyfriend hiding in the bushes. That's what usually happens.
I've actually done that. I mean, not been the woman, but
you pull over and take the woman, then the guy comes with the luggage out of the bushes.
I've actually done that, embarrassingly enough. It's true. But yeah, it's definitely, and the guy was very disappointed when they saw me.